Something to share with you before you take a look at this conversation with Merril Diniz, who's the guest on Money Matters episode 3. So, Merril is the friend I was talking about here. Over a year or so, and I've learned from you. I've learned from other dear friends. There's one friend of mine who will also be a part of this series. Since Merril and I have been friends, I have interesting snippets to share with you before you look at the conversation. So, this is how Merril would typically introduce herself.
Yeah, so a little bit about me. I'm from Team Sheroes.
Okay.
So Sheroes is the world's largest women-only social network. So we are a safe space for women to build their financial and social identity. We got we have about 22 million members, and our community is really excited to see you in the new web series, which is Mumbai Diaries 2611.
Thanks so much. I'm so happy. Sounds like a fantastic thing, Sheroes.
You can see Merril's passion about women taking charge of their finance in not only this conversation that we're about to watch, but many others. And I have a snippet of one such conversation that she had recently with Konkana. Let's watch.
You in your film Wake Up Sid, there's this very lovely scene about financial independence. So, I mean, I just wanted to know from you, we've got a lot of women in our community who are taking their first steps towards financial independence, like either by starting a small business, their first time internet users. What is financial independence achieved for you?
I feel it is the key thing in feminism, or just trying to live an equal life. It is the key thing. Maybe unfortunately, but that's what it boils down to, because as soon as you have financial independence, whether you're a working woman or a homemaker, and a homemaker is also a working woman, you just have to have that understanding with your partner. Because with financial independence comes choices. So you don't have to, so that you have choices. And for everybody else, it is to respect the choices that women make, different choices for themselves. You don't have to agree with those choices. They may not seem right for you, but women have to make their own choices and their own mistakes. But what happens is financial independence just allows you to explore further, as soon, then you're not forced to stay because of circumstances in a bad marriage, in an abusive marriage, or in an abusive home environment, mental or physical. So, that for me is key.
And now with that background, let's gear up to hear what Merril has to say about her journey with Money Matters. Extremely excited to begin the 3rd edition of Money Matters. And today I have with me Merril Diniz. And this edition is really special because Merril is my friend who actually got me excited about the whole topic of money and money matters. And seeing her enthusiasm about investing really helped me build my momentum to read about stocks, to get excited about investing. And so it's this episode is really special. In addition to being my friend, Merril has multiple other dimensions to her personality. She heads communications for Sheroes. She is awesome with music. She composes music. She sings. She's a writer. She blogs. She's really someone who's taught me so much about sustainability also. I will let her introduce and share more about her and what she does. Welcome, Merril.
Thanks, Manisha. Thank you so much. I'm also pretty excited for this conversation because I think we started generally talking about money several months back, maybe even a couple of years back, right?
Yes.
And since then, my journey with with my relationship with money has evolved so much. And it's nice to see that friends, like my friends, I could also help them and it's maybe influence them in some way to invest more of themselves in building that relationship, right, with money. And I think you pretty much already mentioned, a lot of different parts of my identity. But yeah, one thing you missed out is that I'm a Goa gal, and I lived outside Goa for many years, and now I'm finally back here to stay for good. This is my hometown, and I'm very excited for a new journey here in Goa.
Well, how did your journey with money begin? How did the relationship get to where it is now?
Well, I think when I was a kid, I obviously, I had a piggy bank. Like my mom and dad got me a piggy bank, and we would, put coins into it and start saving. And then the pocket money would be used to buy something nice. And also, I think I was probably when I started working, I was part of that newly, freshly minted, disposable income generation where and suddenly there was a different vibe altogether. The media had become privatized. People were getting more salaries. Credit cards were suddenly available very easily. And I think somewhere in that journey, while all of that happened, what was missing was financial education. We weren't really trained on how to invest, how to use credit cards in a very sensible manner. In fact, I learned some of that through my dad because he's been a credit card user for a long time. But each of us makes our mistakes, and we learn ultimately through our own lived experiences. And there came a time where I found myself in credit card debt due to poor financial habits. So despite earning well, I was still having a bit of a paycheck to paycheck sort of a lifestyle. It's very common among people who earn a decent amount, So that sort of I suddenly realized that the interest that you accrue through credit card debt is very high, and it started growing very quickly, and it really alarmed me. And for me, that was a big wake up call. And also around that time, Shiros is a platform where there are a lot of conversations on money happening every day. It's a safe space to talk about money. And I came across a woman called Priyanka Bhatia. She runs a platform called Women on Wealth. And what I really liked is her language, the language she used to talk about money, the language she used to talk to women about money, the language she used to talk about women in the context of money. So it appealed to me, and I just reached out. And then I realized that her organization provides financial education. They actually teach you to build a relationship with money, a healthy relationship with money. And of course, there's a framework that you can follow, and then you progressively learn about investments and all of those things. But the first step is a lot more basic. It's to understand what are your goals, your life goals, what are your values, and things like that. So I think that was highly valuable for me, and I pledged to myself that I'm going to really take charge of this journey. And I decided to become a student and learn about all of these aspects. So that's really, I think that was the trigger to begin this journey.
Thanks for sharing, Merril. And having spoken to you about this, and what I've always admired is your openness to talk about it, to share with others, to share your knowledge, your experience, your wisdom, and also what you're doing in the space. What are you reading? What are you listening to? So um, Women on Wealth is one, but I know that there are several other um, sources of that you refer to. So what have been some other inspirations in this space for you?
Right. I've been a very long-term fan of Susie Orman. So she is a personal finance evangelist in the US, and she's especially been an evangelist for women and money. And I'm very inspired by her own personal story. She growing up, she was dyslexic, so she struggled a lot because the education system wasn't able to support her with the right learning tools and framework. She dropped out of college. She started working as a waitress in a small restaurant, and very slowly she decided, like, I think I need to be an entrepreneur. So she was such a good waitress that her customers got together and they decided to pool in and give her the money to for her business. And then one of them said, take this money and put it in, they will sort of you can invest it there and it'll grow while you're planning your startup. So they gave her $50,000, and she went to put the money there, and within like a month or 2 months or 6 months, I think it was gone. It was wiped out. And then she realized that the person, her investment advisor, had described her as a high net worth individual. So he took her money and put it into some very risky investments, and she lost all of it. But she's a woman with a lot of audacity. Okay, she went there, and then she realized that did not have any women investment advisors, but they had to hire women to fill in their gender quota. So she went there. She got a job there, and it had at that point it had a very misogynistic CEO who told her that women are meant to be barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen, those kinds of things he said. And then she actually learned how to be an advisor. And she also sued the company at the same time. She recovered all her money. And the gentleman who sort of misadvised her, he got fired. But what she realized is that she didn't want to spend her life helping high net individuals get richer. She wanted to help everyday people, like build a secure life, right? So that's where her journey began. And I really like the way she has, just through her talks and her conversations and her shows, she's inspired and influenced a lot of women, a lot of people of color, a lot of different kinds of people to take charge of their money and be able to grow their money, even small amounts. Like, she's not talking about investing, lakhs of rupees or anything. She's like, if you earn this much, this is what you need to do. So it's like you can educate yourself, and we need such voices, like strong female voices who can inspire anyone to take an interest in their financial journey. So she's been like a very, very big influence in my life, and I listen to her podcast every week. And she even has her own app now. And she must be in her 70s, but the lady has so much of energy. It's so inspiring. She's a big influence. And I also follow like a lot of these YouTube vloggers. A lot of them share their own journeys, their own tips and stuff. And I also follow this show called CNBC Make It. It's excellent. Like, it really interviews a lot of different kinds of people, and it really understands how are people saving, investing, spending their money. So it's very beautifully curated and very relatable in many ways.
What a story. I absolutely loved it. So
You also mentioned, sorry, you also mentioned, right, that I'm open to having these conversations. I think sometimes I lead with them. I'll be chatting with some girlfriends, and they will be saying something like, oh, I'm very stressed out because, I got to make a big payment and I don't know how to go about it. Or, so then I sort of find that as a great way to like initiate this conversation. And now it's very comfortable. We meet, we ask each other like, so what are you investing in, and what new hacks have you discovered to like lead a more financially aligned life. So yeah, I mean, I think that's it's nice. I like this culture. It's a healthy culture.
Yeah. So, Merril, I'm curious to know, you enrolled in um, the Women on Wealth program, but the rest you've discovered, you made your own discoveries also, right? So, what were these small steps that helped you gain momentum, that helped you, you know, from that foundation, really um, get more knowledge, get more wisdom, be inspired to lead such conversations? And what would your what would your what would you advise other women, or what would be few inputs that you would like to give other women on how they could make their beginning without fear, and so that it seems within reach?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, there are a couple of things I would say. One is it always helps if you are part of a community. So for instance, Women on Wealth is a community, Sheroes is a community, communities where you can learn together and where you can discuss goals, where you can really like study together. You can, attend, events, online webinars around money. You can hear other women talking about it. So you can surround yourself and create that space for yourself to feel motivated. That's very powerful. So I think last year, was it, or was it this year? I'm forgetting. I think it was this year, sorry. I did a program which taught us how to invest, how to pick a quality stock, because like generally, like all the statistics say that women stock investors tend to get higher returns, though they might be a smaller number. That's changing quite quickly, because maybe like we earn less, there's a lot of gender bias where our salaries are concerned. We take out a lot of time to for caregiving and other life cycles, right? So we have to be very careful with our money. We have to really think hard before we invest. So better to invest in something you're confident about rather than put your money in the hands of somebody else, like what happened to Susie Orman, right? Like $50,000 down the drain through an unreliable investment advisor, right? So yeah, I think giving yourself that education and being ready to invest the time and your resources, prioritizing financial literacy, that is a commitment you can make to yourself. And today there's a whole world out there on the internet that makes learning about money so easy and so joyful and so fun. So like, for instance, YouTube is full of amazing people who are sharing their personal journeys. They are sharing what are they doing to to grow their money, to grow their wealth. And it's not just a conversation about getting rich. It's about, what are my financial values? What do I align with? Nowadays people even like, so for instance, if you are a person who wants to live sustainably, there are certain stocks that you can invest in which are aligned to that goal. That is still a very, very nascent opportunity in India, but in the US there are stocks which are like aligned with personal sustainable goals, right? So you can learn from different people. You can decide what kind of a person you're going to be in this journey as well, right? So there are ways to make it such fun. You can make it fun, you can learn, you can read blogs. There's a lot of humor also around it, and you can keep talking to your girlfriends you catch up with them for coffee, you talk about many things. So also talk about, this journey, right? And you can discuss your goals, you can discuss your difficulties. If somebody is in debt, you can have a conversation. You can be their accountability partner, or they can be your accountability partner. You don't have to do any of this alone. And it doesn't have to be through a lot of jargon, right? Because that's the revolution that is going on right now. And also, I think, nowadays you can invest through your smartphone, right? It's very easy. There are so many platforms that are not just allowing you to invest, but they're also building education around it. So there's so much of literature that they are creating. A lot of the apps through which you can invest are investing themselves in creating literature that helps their audiences learn about investing and try to make more informed decisions.
Yes.
Right. So everything is out there. It's just that, who can make it more interesting, and will you make the time? Will you make the effort to essentially, to think and learn before making that investment, right?
Yes.
So the tools are all around. It's like, how are you prioritizing it?
Yes. And Zerodha also has a lot of, they have, Varsity, which has a lot of good information on, education.
I think you're using it, right? Are you using Zerodha?
Yes. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice, and it's a very seamless interface. And I like the content that they've created. So, Merril, what are some habits that have really helped you on your financial journey? Some maybe daily, weekly, monthly habits.
Right. So I think one of the most important habits is that, a lot of, like, I keep hearing professionals, like really well-educated, savvy, successful professionals all around me saying, I have no idea where my money comes and goes. And they really mean it. Like, if they lose their job today, they won't be able to survive because they've not made any investments. They've not made any savings. They've not built any kind of financial framework, right? So one thing that I do, and this is part of a structure that I learned through Women on Wealth, and everything, like all the bloggers out there also say the same thing, that you should know where your money is going. So you can use apps to track your spendings, your daily spendings, your incomings, your outgoings. Somebody gives you a gift, that's money as well, right? It's not, you're not only getting money through what you earn, right? So that is a very important habit, to track where it's going and coming. And second habit could be to always pay your credit card bills on time. Never, ever fall behind on your credit card bills, right? Now, where credit cards are concerned, a lot of people have fears about credit cards. They feel like using a credit card could be the reason to go into debt, but that's not the case. If you use a credit card well, it's a very valuable tool to improve your credit score. So, if your credit score is good and you've been paying your bills on time, then you are more likely to get like a loan, say a home loan or any kind of other good debt, right? Otherwise, how are they going to know whether you are the kind of person who can pay? It's a way to demonstrate your ability to be credit worthy, right? So that's also, it's good to learn about credit cards and to really study them before you take one out. It should be beneficial to you. You should get some value out of it, either reward points or reward miles or something like that, right? And so these are two good habits to have. The third would be maybe to look at your investments, and see how are they doing. But at the same time, you mustn't get too obsessed and keep worrying if they're not doing very well. sometimes, stocks take time to grow, and also mutual funds. You got to think of it as a bit of a long game. So patience is quite important, and study whatever you're investing in well. Don't invest because somebody is advising you, unless you can really, really trust that person and feel that they are highly credible, right? So these are some good habits, and keep learning, keep watching stuff, keep reading, keep talking. Whichever works for you. I think these are things that help me a lot personally. It's like an ongoing journey. It doesn't end. And it's exciting because the world of money is evolving constantly, right? So you have to evolve with it, I would say.
Yeah. I think the good part in the current day and age is how accessible certain tools are to track, to learn, to invest on your own. I think the platforms are just amazing how technology has enabled us to just, sit at home, track, invest, study the trends. Um, and think
No,
to
that's a
see,
fantastic point that you made. Yeah.
yeah. Um,
Like one tool that is your best friend is the tracking your daily spending. Like there are such sophisticated good apps that if you put in all your data there, you can track it over a period of 10 to 15 years or so. So you'll
wow.
know exactly, like in 2018, I was very depressed, so I spent like a lot on food. Then 2020, I got counseling, and then my mental health was better, and I cut down on this and this and this, and then my spending on like fruit or something else went up. So your money life pretty much reflects what you're going through in life as well, right? So you can actually, it's like a mirror to your life, literally. It's very fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah. So, which are some good ones, man? Which are some
I
good
use one
apps?
called Money. I use one called Money Lover. That's
Money
a good one.
Lover. Wow.
Money
Love
Lover.
that name.
Yeah, Money Lover is a great name, and they have like a lifelong subscription of 250 rupees or something, and then you get all the features. So it's very easy to track, and
That's
very easy to
amazing.
input. So some people like to use Excel, but this is good. Like you can do both, perhaps.
Yeah, I'm the Excel one, so I'm really excited about. I'm really excited to see how this makes. So I'm going to check it out. What else makes this journey fun for you, Merril? You mentioned a few already, which is the community bit and really all the information that's available that makes it joyful. What else makes it fun for you?
I think it's really fun talking to, especially like the people in your life about it. Like how you can literally see how people's lives are changing as you influence them. Like
Yes.
you can have a pay it forward kind of a approach, because maybe not everybody can pay money to learn, right?
Mm,
Like some people can pay money and they can afford it and they can learn, but you can do a little bit by influencing somebody else to use their own resources. Like for instance, I have a colleague who who was very stressed because she just thought she's in a very bad financial situation. So when we actually sat and we on an Excel we put down all the money that's available to her, she realized she's richer than she knew, because she had no idea where everything was. She did not even know what is EPF. She didn't even
mm,
know that she has an employee provident fund, right?
mm.
So once she got to know about it, she was really excited. She's like, Merril, I never knew this, because and it's not surprising. Like we don't learn it in school, right?
Yes.
We don't learn so many important things in school. We don't learn about financial well-being. We don't learn about mental health. We don't learn about self-care, relationships, feminism, so many things we don't learn, right? And one of them is financial well-being. So then after that, like, I feel she felt in a better place, you know. So yeah, I mean, I also feel like we are less stressed out if we can talk about this to other people without judgment. But then we also should not judge. It has to be a equally, like, it should be an equal relationship where nobody judges, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So this part has been very interesting for me. And perhaps there was a point at some point where I didn't, like, it was not part of my consciousness to talk about it or to feel there's an important need to talk about it. But now I do feel it's quite good to create that culture where if somebody is in trouble because of money, they can come and talk to you as a friend and not feel ashamed, not feel fear, not feel like you'll be judged. It can really affect your mental health in a good way as well, you know.
Yeah. And the thought that comes to my mind is to really start looking at the financial aspect of our life just like any other aspect, like fitness. I mean, people don't feel judged when they discuss about fitness. um, I think so. I mean, I think that's a far more common topic that's discussed. And I think financial well-being is also as important as physical well-being. It's also a part of various important aspects of our life, be it relationships, being learning, personal growth, so on and so forth. And I think normalizing it will create a safer space and that feeling of not being judged. I think we still have some way to go before it's normalized. What are your thoughts?
Yes. I think physical and physical fitness both are very important, right?
Yes.
Like, and they affect each other. So for
They
instance,
affect each other.
if
So
you don't
true.
if you don't take care of your physical fitness, you are going to fall sick more, you have more hospital visits. That's going to impact your physical fitness. If you don't have health insurance, that's going to affect your fitness. So it's pretty interrelated.
Yes.
And both are equally important. And also, like, I think that I feel that women are fantastic candidates to learn about every aspect of money because they are already very good at budgeting, very good at they're very good with managing money. I'm not talking about every woman, but on a general level, like, that's what I observe. And it has a lot to do with the fact that you work with fewer resources, right? You earn less, you have lesser access, right? So you learn to do a lot with a lot less. So they are really good candidates at learning about all the other aspects of financial well-being, right? And it is a myth pretty much to say that women are bad with money and men are good with it. I completely disagree. It's a stereotype. And I have seen a lot of women growing their wealth very quickly once they just know about the right way to save, the right way to build a financial framework for themselves.
Wow, that's very interesting, Meryl. So, what does a financial framework comprise of? Like, does it comprise of how piece of managing money and what's, what's available and the goals?
So I think it really connects. It has to connect to your life. What are your goals? What makes you happy? What are your values and what are your goals? Like, value system is so important, right?
Yes.
Like your like, so for instance, if you are investing in a particular way and your values are very different, then there could be like a mismatch, right? So you got to, the conversation has to really start with where you're at already. What do you want to achieve? what do you want to, like, how do you want to live, right? Everybody has different lifestyles, different goals, different values. So it has to be aligned. It's not something which the same the same framework cannot work for everybody, right? Like some people just need more wealth to enjoy their life, and so then they have to plan differently. And some people are more like, today a friend of mine, she posted on Facebook that she wants to live a very simple life, and for her, relationships are most important. But even she needs to be secure, right? So probably she's going to be able to build what she needs way faster because her needs are also less, right? So it's a mix of all those different kinds of things,
Thanks, Merril. Thanks for sharing. What are some other thoughts that you would like to leave the viewers with?
I think we need to really create financial education for everybody, like everybody, it needs to be accessible. So whether you're a person with a disability or you come from a very marginalized background, we need to find ways in which we can, allow this education to reach everywhere. And one way to do it maybe is to have it in schools. I feel like it's a very important subject. And if we can, sort of bring that into the curriculum, and maybe even other touch points. So for instance, if you're part of a self-help group, then financial education should be a part of the activities, right? Because it's just so important, and the lack of financial education is ruining many lives. But if you just have that information, you have those tools, things are available, but it's just that we either don't know about it, or we have too much of fear. We don't know enough about it, and we think it's very difficult because perhaps that's the way the financial world wants us to perceive it, that it is very difficult, so you need to pay somebody to do it for you, right? I'm not, and there are legitimate financial advisors out there as well, right? But it's important to have a bit of a DIY approach to it as well, right? So that we can each learn about it and not wait till that time when you're broke, or when you're in debt, or when you're on the brink of financial ruin to start it, right? So those are some things which I feel for instance, and another thing is we have to make it accessible. So if you're a person with a hearing disability, then you need, the information should be available in sign language, right? So it should be wide. It should be wide and accessible to all people. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I agree with you.
It should be inclusive. This journey of learning should be inclusive.
I think that's such a good point, and that doesn't get spoken about very often.
Yeah. I mean, I guess our own experiences shape what we consider to be so powerful, right? I feel financial well-being and education is very powerful and very transformative. And I just hope that every person out there gets a chance to use it as a tool, to get what they want to achieve, what they want to go, where they want to go.
Yes. Thank you, Merril. This was such a refreshing conversation. And, there's so much good stuff that you shared. I'm definitely going to apply some more of what I've learned from you. So much more that I learned in today's conversation. And good luck to you.
This was a fun conversation.
Likewise.
All right.
It was fun and energizing.